Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Welcome to today's reading from Brilliant as the Sun, a retelling of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, the Universal Order. We will be reading from chapter 25 today, the glories of Lord Ananta. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langhayate girim yat kripa tamham vande Shri Gurum Deenatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tat Sat. Verses 1 and 2, Shukadev said, My dear king, approximately 30,000 yojans beneath Patal lives the divine incarnation of Lord Vishnu known as Ananta or Shankarshan. He is fixed in transcendence, but because he is worshipped by Shiva, the presiding deity of nature's mode of ignorance, he is called Tamasi. Lord Ananta is the presiding deity of false ego which makes conditioned souls think they are the enjoyers and controllers of this world. The entire Bhumandala rests upon one of the Ananta's hoods, appearing to him to be like a tiny mustard seed. Verse 3, At the time of universal devastation, Ananta becomes slightly angry at the stubborn souls who have not surrendered to Krishna. He knits his eyebrows and from between them emanates 11 trident-wielding Rudras with 3 fierce eyes who destroy the world. Verses 4 to 7, Shukadev swept his arm around and a vision of Ananta appeared in the sky. His tall, pure white and exquisitely handsome form clad in blue garments. The long arms hung down like silver columns decorated with gleaming golden bangles. His reddish eyes looked like 2 lotuses as they glanced about here and there, as if in intoxication. A single earring hung from one of his perfectly formed ears, and he held a plough over his shoulder with his 2 strong-looking hands. A golden belt encircled his waist, and a garland of fresh tulsi leaves hung from his neck. Surrounded by sweetly humming bees, beautiful Naga maidens in human form bowed at his feet, and they saw their reflections in his polished pink toenails. Glittering earrings decorated their cheeks, making their beautiful faces even more charming. Seeking the Lord's auspicious blessings, they smeared Ananta's arms with various ointments. The touch of his limbs excited those princesses, and the all-knowing Ananta looked at them with a merciful smile. They bashfully smiled back, gazing up at his beautiful face. His reddish eyes moved about as if intoxicated, and he cast loving glances at his devotees. A chorus of voices resounded from the sky. We worship Lord Sankarshan as Ananta Dev because he is an ocean of unlimited spiritual qualities. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead who dwells within the material world for the welfare of all living entities, restraining his anger and intolerance. Parikshit strained to see the source of the prayer. Partially obscured by the Lord's effulgence, he saw throngs of gods, demons, Uragas, Siddhas, Gandharvas, Vidyadhars, and many highly elevated sages playing instruments, singing and dancing. The Lord's eyes, like flowers in full bloom, darted back and forth, apparently surprised, and he spoke to them in sweet words. Verse 8, Shukadev said, My dear king, those serious to attain liberation should hear Ananta's glories from a spiritual master. If they always meditate on Sankarshan, then the Lord will enter the core of their hearts and destroy all material contamination. The hard knot of desire to dominate and exploit this world, which has been in the heart since time immemorial, will be cut to pieces. Shukadev glanced over at Narad's son. Shukadev waved his hand, and in the sky above appeared the 4-headed Lord Brahma, seated in his magical assembly hall. Surrounding him were the personified Vedas, the directions, elements, and time. Narad sat in the center of the assembly, strumming his stringed tumburu. Verse 9, Narad appeared absorbed in a deep meditative trance as he sang. Simply by his glance, the Lord activates the modes of nature which brings about creation, maintenance, and destruction. He is the Supreme Soul, unlimited, without beginning, and although one manifests in many forms, how can anyone comprehend his acts? Within him exists all phenomena, gross and subtle. Since he possesses all mystic power and is very kind to his devotees, he performs superhuman pastimes to attract his devotees' minds and please their hearts. Verse 11. What to speak of the potency of his personal forms? If a distressed and degraded person just hears his holy name chanted by a bona fide spiritual master, he is immediately purified. Even if he chants the Lord's name jokingly or by chance, he and anyone who hears him are freed from all sins. Therefore, who will avoid chanting Lord Shesha's name if he wants freedom from material entanglement? Who else can give one such shelter? Verses 12 and 13. Because the Lord is unlimited, no one can estimate his power. Consider this: the entire universe with its great mountains, rivers, oceans, trees, and living beings sits like an atom on one of his thousands of hoods. No one can fully describe his glories, not even if they have 1,000 tongues. There is no end to his splendor and prowess. He is the self-sufficient support of everything. Dwelling beneath Patal, he sustains the universe without effort. Verses 14 and 15. The image of Narad in Brahma's assembly hall faded. Shukadev said, "My dear king, as I have heard from my spiritual master, I have fully described the various parts of the material creation. Conditioned souls attain these different destinations according to their deeds and desire to enjoy. Achieving different bodies, they reside in higher or lower planets. I have explained all this in response to your request. What shall I speak of now?" And with this, we've come to end of chapter 25, the glories of Lord Ananta. And next time we will be reading from the final chapter of Canto 5, the hellish planets. So thank you for joining. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hare Krishna.